Why did Kim Taehyung suddenly name Bada, Lee and Leejung as the biggest forces in his dance evolution? What secret have they been keeping all this time? The truth behind Taehyung's admiration will shock you. Are you ready for a revelation Army never saw coming? Why now? Why would Kim Taehyung, the enigmatic and globally beloved member of BTS, suddenly pull back the curtain on a truth he had been holding close for years? Why did his voice tremble ever so slightly when he spoke the names? Bada, Lee, and Leejung. Lee in that candid moment that is now circling the world like wildfire? Army is stunned. The dance world is gasping. And the mystery that once lay hidden in the shadows of performances is now crawling into the light, one heart-thudding confession at a time. But this isn't just about dance. This is about the very soul of Kim Taehyung, the part he rarely shows, the part he fiercely protects. So if you think you know Taehyung, think again. Before we begin, take a moment. Like, comment, subscribe, because this isn't just a story, it's a turning point in the life of a legend. What you're about to discover will reshape how you see Taehyung, Bada Lee, and Leejung forever. Join the conversation, share your emotions. Let's uncover the hidden layers of this journey together. It began with a breath, a long, deliberate pause in the middle of a post-performance interview. Taehyung had just finished an emotionally charged showcase that left both fans and critics in awe. But while everyone praised his vocal tenderness and visual presence, his movements had told another story, a deeper, almost aching kind of truth. And then he said it, with a reverence so rare it made the room still. Bada Nuna and Leejung Nuna have shaped me in ways I can't even explain. They didn't just teach me how to move, they taught me how to express. Was this a slip? A planned tribute? Or was it the culmination of years spent in private studios, in quiet struggle, in sweat-soaked rooms where the cameras never reached? For those who have followed Taehyung's journey, this revelation struck like lightning. Of course, Taehyung has always danced, but something changed recently. His choreography had become less about precision and more about presence. Less about steps, more about storytelling. And now we know why. Behind that transformation stood two women who are no strangers to commanding the stage. Bada Lee, the fierce architect of emotion, and Leejung, the queen of rhythm and resistance. What exactly did they awaken in him? There's a whisper among dancers that true expression doesn't come from repetition. It comes from breaking. Breaking form, breaking ego, breaking through pain. And perhaps it was through Bada and Leejung that Taehyung finally let himself break. The kind of breaking that leads to rebirth, to honesty, to raw, unfiltered emotion. Taehyung described nights when he would rehearse, alone for hours after everyone had left, while Bada stayed silently in the corner, watching, correcting only when needed. He spoke of Leejung's uncanny ability to feel his energy before he even moved, reshaping choreography not just for him, but with him. He wasn't learning moves. He was learning vulnerability. And that changes everything. In one unreleased clip that has reportedly made Army cry just from insider descriptions, Taehyung is seen collapsing onto the floor, not from exhaustion, but from release, from finally allowing himself to feel what the world demands him to hide. And right there, hands steady, voices calm, Bada and Leejung helped him rise. No applause, no cameras, just healing. How long had this bond been forming in secret? Taehyung has always walked a fine line between the spotlight and solitude. And while his connection with fans is cosmic, intimate, even ethereal, there's always been a part of him locked away. But these two women found a way in. Not through charm or fame, but through honesty. They didn't ask for the idol. They asked for Taehyung, and he gave it to them. This newfound openness in movement began to ripple into everything. Fans noticed his posture was more grounded, his gaze more deliberate, his silences more powerful. Even when he wasn't dancing, his body spoke volumes. Could it be that these lessons had reshaped not only his performance, but his very being? Speculation exploded online. Army began to dig. They unearthed past rehearsal snippets where Bada's silhouette appeared briefly, and where Leejung's voice could be heard coaching softly. The signs had always been there, but Taehyung had kept the truth protected until now. Why now? Perhaps it was time. Perhaps it was trust. Or maybe after years of giving pieces of himself to the world, Taehyung wanted to show the part he never gave away. the part molded not by fame, but by sisterhood, by mentorship, by respect. "I owe them more than I can say," he said, voice thick with emotion. "They believed in the part of me I wasn't sure existed." It's rare for global superstars to admit their weaknesses. It's rarer still to spotlight others in an industry obsessed with self-branding. But this is why Taehyung is different. He doesn't chase perfection. He chases truth. And in naming Bada Lee and Leejung, he didn't just give them credit, he gave them love. Could this moment reshape the idol-dancer dynamic across K-pop? Many believe it already has. Young trainees are now citing Bada and Leejung as more than choreographers. They're becoming symbols of liberation, of emotional movement, of a new era where idols are allowed to feel first, perform second. And what about the fans? They're weeping. They're inspired. They're commenting by the thousands, pouring out gratitude not just to Taehyung, but to the women who dared to pull his truth to the surface. What does this mean for the future of BTS choreography? For Taehyung's solo work? For the hidden bridges between vulnerability and art? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. What Taehyung shared wasn't just a name drop. It was a surrender. A poetic act of vulnerability disguised as gratitude. So, Army, what do you think? Have you noticed the difference in Taehyung's movement? Did you feel the shift without knowing the cause? What else might he be holding close to his heart? Waiting for the right moment to reveal? Tell us in the comments. Let your thoughts become part of this moment. Like this story if your heart ached reading it. Subscribe if you believe that truth in art is the most powerful gift an artist can give. This isn't the end. This is only the beginning. And maybe, just maybe, the next time Taehyung dances, we'll see not just a performer, but a man reborn through the hands of those who believed in him when the world saw only perfection. What if the stage was never meant to be a destination for Taehyung, but a mirror? What if every step he's taken wasn't to impress, but to confess? As the waves of emotion continue to swell across fandoms, industry professionals, and media insiders, there's one truth pulsing at the core of this revelation. Taehyung didn't just share a story, he opened a wound. And within that wound is the quiet presence of Bada Lee and Leejung, two women who never asked for recognition, but whose influence is now undeniable. In the quiet corridors of rehearsal studios, under flickering fluorescent lights, where mirrors reflect not fame but fatigue, Taehyung learned how to unravel. And from that unraveling, a new kind of artistry was born. Something neither manufactured nor choreographed, but lived. Something spiritual. Something unforgettable. The connection wasn't instant. Bada's approach is methodical, patient, intentional. Leejung, known for her precise, almost mathematical execution, brought a different kind of intensity. But it was this contrast that pulled Taehyung into balance. At first, he resisted. For years, his dancing had been tailored, crafted for group synchronization, designed to be beautiful. But here, beauty wasn't the goal, authenticity was. And authenticity demands pain. It was in the rawness of imperfection that Taehyung began to discover freedom. Through trembling legs and tear-blurred eyes, he began to feel each movement as a confession, not just to ARMY, but to himself. Bada and Leejung didn't ask him to become someone else. They challenged him to stop hiding. Did he ever feel afraid? He admitted he did. There were moments I wanted to run, to go back to the safe, polished version of myself, but they wouldn't let me. His voice broke when he said this. They saw something inside me I didn't know was there, and they fought for it. Can you imagine what it feels like to be known before you know yourself? For Taehyung, the studio became a sanctuary, a place where fame didn't exist, where he wasn't V of BTS, global icon, visual king, but just Taehyung,